Swissie is at a, what, 10, 11-month high against the euro, Steve. Two questions. How much longer are you going to go on, and how much longer before the SNB acts?
Well, it's obviously moving ever closer to the 120 floor. I doubt personally that it will get to that sort of level against the euro, and therefore doubt that the Swiss National Bank will have to come in and act in the market in any way. But probably what will happen is, if this period of sort of risk aversion continues, we'll see euro Swissie stay probably in the sort of 121, 123 type area. I do think longer term that the euro will rise against the Swiss franc, but for the moment that seems unlikely.
What is your call for the euro for the next sort of 3 to 6 months?
Well, I think euro Swiss will move up towards the sort of 125 area, but as we've said, we obviously need to see some of the current tensions ease back.
We've talked about sterling as a sort of a safe haven in the past. Does it maintain that quality for you?
Well, I think so, relative to most other currencies. I think generally speaking, we talk about safe haven flows, but I think if you look at any of the sort of major currencies, the euro, the dollar, the Swiss franc, and perhaps you can include the pound in there and the yen as well, of course. Those currencies generally tend to stay relatively firm against the other currencies when you have some degree of tension. So you might see weakness in some of the Scandinavian currencies, as we've seen just recently, for instance, certainly in case of the Swedish krona, and then as well in terms of some of the commodity-based currencies. So that major currency block, I think, will tend to stay a little bit firmer. And within that block, though, movements are actually fairly limited, and I think they'll probably stay fairly limited, and that includes sterling.
But what are you long of within that block?
Well, generally speaking, in actual fact, have a fairly neutral view right now. I wouldn't really be looking to play any of those major currencies off against one another. I do think we're in a low volatility environment that will persist for some period of time. So I think you really have to look at holding maybe one of those currencies against either emerging market currency or a currency in the amongst those I mentioned earlier, the Scandis or the commodity-based currencies, for instance.